We are back. It is Thursday, 28th day of October, 2021. Wake up, Wenatchee Valley. We're here. Thanks for joining us. Dan Kuntz, your host. It is 43 degrees. The light rain pretty much done right now. We're still going to get a couple of sprinkles here and a dinkle or two there before this day is done. It's going to be pretty mild, too. We got some warm air coming in from the jet stream. It was raining lightly, basically from about midnight to about 4:30 or so, and then it's kind of tapered off, at least here in the Wenatchee Valley. But they still have that flood watch. It still remains in effect until 11 o'clock tonight for areas north of us where the burn scars from the summer fires. Could still see some rock slides and some mudslides in the Medhow Valley, the Cedar Creek fire and the Cub Creek fire, and then, of course, Lake Chelan had to deal with the 25-mile fire. And so there's still a possibility of some blink coming down. That's a technical term, by the way, blink. So we'll keep a close eye on that. A little windy at times as well. We got quite a bit of weather to talk about. The weekend, though, for Halloween is looking nice, sunny, cool, considerably cooler. In fact, we're going to have overnight lows over the weekend getting right close to that freezing mark. And before I go any further, that reminds me, traction tires are advised this morning on Stevens Pass, US 2 Stevens Pass. They got a little bit of light snow coming down at the summit of Stevens. I just looked at the camera on the roadway. Looks pretty passable to me. Pardon the pun. Plus news, plus sports. Houston came back. Atlanta was the victim of 1,000 little cuts last night. Just base hit after base hit after base hit for the Astros. They have evened their World Series at a game apiece. We'll have highlights. The Kraken back in action tonight, taking on Minnesota at Climate Pledge Arena, plus the day in prep sports. Busy day. And we got volleyball tonight. Quick reminder, we got senior night for the Wenatchee volleyball team, who is undefeated in league play. They have already clinched the Columbia Basin Big Nine regular season title. They are rolling right along. They got Sunnyside coming into town tonight. We'll have that volleyball match for you live here at 7 o'clock on the NCW Life Channel. Let's see what we got. Oh, one more thing. Two more things. Paws for Pets. Can't forget about that. Princess the dog needs a home. You remember Princess? We introduced you to Princess a couple of weeks ago. She's still in dog jail. So let's bail her out. She needs a home. We'll reintroduce you to Princess. And my conversation, Dr. Catherine Straub from Confluence Health. Confluence Health comes in once a month to talk about health, and it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. October is. Dr. Straub will give you some important information on that. Okay, now we can start our tour. Since we've set the table. Good morning, Wenatchee Valley. Look at that. Look at that low-hanging piece of cloud fog there. Very, very eerie-like. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I don't know what the heck that was. Good morning, Wenatchee Valley, from our cross camera. Of course, the days are getting shorter. We're losing close now to 3 minutes of daylight now, this time of the year. Sunrise this morning, 7:39. It's a ways off. Sunset tonight, 5:49. That's 10 hours and 10 minutes of daylight. We had 10 hours and 14 minutes of daylight yesterday. In case you're curious, daylight saving time starts 1 week from Sunday. Sunday, November 7th is when we turn our clocks back. Don't get me started. Camera number 2. Yeah, that's a beautiful view. Oh, there we go. It's the Arundel Rock camera, letting in more light than there actually is. We've talked about that. It's not that bright out, but that's how the cameras are designed. You can see the lights of Rocky Ridge Dam to your right. You can see the traffic on the highway to your left. No more backups. They finished that emergency chip seal, whatever it was they were working on. That's done. So you can take 97 on the east side of the river and make it up to where you need to go without any traffic delays this morning. Good morning to our friends at Lake Antioch, and we have many. Camera number 3. We're going to take a look at that's got to be the roof of the Cascadian, looking back towards East Wenatchee. Is that confirmed from Mr. Darby? That is confirmed by Mr. Darby. Thank you very much, Uriah. On the far right-hand side of your screen, you can see the traffic on the Senator George Seller Bridge. You can see the mall and all places in the east side. We're getting to the point of the year where our cameras are limited because there just isn't, first of all, it's not light enough, and sometimes we get the low clouds and the fog that obscure the camera lens. And camera number 4. Oh, that's cool. That's got to be Antioch. That has to be Antioch. I want to say maybe the Hose Landing camera. We haven't used that one in a long time. Hose Canyon, of course, Hose Landing is on the other side of the Columbia River, and we're looking over towards Antioch, where the Antioch River dumps into the Columbia River, and just a little sliver of Aniat pays us a visit. Good stuff. Nice views there on this Thursday morning. 3 slides to show for you. First of all, another one about the wind gust forecast. Now, we're not going to be too windy here today in the Wenatchee Valley, but out in the Columbia Basin, take a look. Moses Lake, Ritzville, if you're driving on I-90, you're going to be buffered it around a little bit. Now, these, again, are not sustained winds. These are wind gusts, as you can see in the Wenatchee Valley. We're not going to get particularly windy today. Wind will be about 5 miles an hour to 10 miles an hour, but occasional gust here and there. And to the north, it's going to be pretty calm. But the Omayak-Okanagan area and definitely along the I-90 corridor, if you drive a high-profile rig, could get blown around a little bit. Don't like to see that. So that's your wind gusts for today. Again, most of it relegated out to the Columbia Basin. Now, as far as Halloween weekend is concerned, here's a sneak preview. It's looking good. Lots of sunshine for everybody. It's going to be a good Saturday and Sunday to maybe rake up the leaves. Very pleasant, lots of sunshine, but chilly. Overnight lows will be down into the lower 30s for the Wenatchee Valley, and that means other locations, you're going to be below freezing for overnight lows over the weekend. So get ready for some chilly but sunny conditions once we get to the weekend, but we're not quite there yet. From the National Weather Service, here we go. I told you it was going to be mild today, and it's going to be mild today, 62. Our afternoon high, our normal high is about 54 degrees. Again, the rain is all but done, but the clouds are going to be hanging around all day today. Sun's taking the day off, high of about 62. A little bit of light rain, sprinkles and dinkles tonight, 47 for the overnight low. Friday, we begin the transition. We'll have clouds in the morning. We'll have sun in the afternoon. It'll be a little breezy at times on Friday, nothing we can't handle. But as you can see, considerably cooler because the cold front's coming in. We're going to go from 62 to 55 for the afternoon high on Friday. As I mentioned before, starting Friday night, chilly. It's going to be a long underwear night for our crew working the Eastmont game on a Friday night. 33 for the overnight low. 33 for the overnight low on Saturday and on into Sunday. Halloween weekend looks good. Again, lots of sunshine for everybody. Temperatures below normal, but at least we'll have the sunshine, and we'd like that. And then we welcome November on Monday under partly cloudy skies and a high of about 50. All right, that's what Mother Nature has in store for us. It's 7.5 minutes after the hour. 1 minute break, and we'll come right back with the news. You're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life Channel.
Kids are resilient. I just love their energy. They bounce back so quickly. I love the stories they tell. I love just their charisma, their character. I love to see that subtle smile that you pull out of a kid, when you start talking with them about something they really like. I just love what I do, and I can't imagine I would be as happy doing anything else.
Scare Crazy in Cashmere. It's a spectacular good time all month long in Cashmere. Scarecrows will be waiting for you throughout the town. Silly ones, spooky ones, and everything in between. Yeah, it's Scare Crazy in Cashmere. Bring the family and find the scarecrows all around Cashmere, and be sure to thank these fine sponsors.
Loves Me Flowers, a step beyond ordinary, adorning life's moments with flower arrangements, plants, and gifts. Epidolin Retirement and Assisted Living for seniors in a home-like atmosphere.
A little cloudy, some light rain, 43 degrees outside of our studios. We'll be in the lower 60s today. Lots of clouds, fairly dry. A little on the windy side on Friday, and then sunny and chilly for a Halloween weekend. We begin with this story. Wenatchee police officers in the department's lower garage on North Mission heard a loud crash on Tuesday night, and then somebody yelling for help, and they went to investigate, and what did they find? Well, they found a pickup had left Mission Street near Palouse intersection and crashed through a fence. That is not how you're supposed to park a pickup truck. The police department said nobody was injured. The truck, as you might imagine, suffered extensive damage, as did the fence and a vehicle that was parked below in the parking lot there. Police say the unidentified driver of the pickup was driving far too fast and accelerating aggressively. Confluence Health says almost 92% of its 4,600 employees have received a full round of COVID-19 vaccinations. That accounts for every Confluence employee working in person at Central Washington Hospital and its associated clinics. The 8% of workers still unvaccinated have either received an accommodation to work at home or a 12-week leave of absence to bring their vaccinations up to date. All health workers in Washington, of course, have to receive a COVID-19 shot or face termination under an executive order from Governor Jay Inslee. Confluence has not provided an updated figure on the number of employees who's been fired or who resigned because of the deadline for full vaccination, which went into effect on October 18th. Washington's chief epidemiologist says the fifth wave of COVID-19 is a big one. Dr. Scott Lindquist yesterday said the rate of new cases doesn't appear to be slowing down as the end of the year grows closer.
We are at around 720,000 cases. This is just unbelievable to me as the state communicable disease epi that we would have an epidemic with 720,000 cases. And that's probably not capturing all the cases. With that is around 40,000 hospitalizations, 40,000 hospitalizations, and 8,500 deaths. So this is a very humbling pandemic that continues to go on. And this epi curve really shows us that the disease is not slowing down. In some places around the state, it's actually starting to pick up again. For the most part, we see flattening of case counts, but we're at this very high rate of cases and hospitalizations and even deaths. And this is being driven by several factors. Some of this is obviously moving indoors with the change in weather, the fall gatherings. People are loosening up their masking behaviors, and then the hesitancy or refusal to vaccinate, multiple outbreaks. All these are contributing to us stalling out at a fairly high rate. Now, this is the fifth wave. I certainly hope we can turn this around before it becomes a sixth wave or an incredibly high plateau for the fifth wave.
Yeah, health officials are still encouraging people who haven't gotten their vaccine to get their vaccine and to practice social distancing and mask up when you can. Ballots for the November 2nd general election have been slow. They've been trickling into the Chelan County Auditor's office, but Chelan County Auditor Skip Moore says he expects things to pick up pretty good in the next couple of days, thanks in large part to the rather contentious races for the Wenatchee School Board. In Douglas County, Auditor Thad Duvall says only about 16% of the ballots in that county have been turned in as of Tuesday night. The last off-year election saw a 46% return rate in Douglas County.
Currently, our turnout's at 18%. We just brought in some more ballots this morning on the drop box, so that's going to probably push us up between 18 to 20% to currently in-house that we're processing. Anticipate over 50%, and I think that's going to be a result of this the excitement involved with the Wenatchee School District or School Board issues. So I think we're going to get over 50%, and it seems to be going a little slow right now. But I think we had a lot in the first part. We've kind of flattened out a little bit. Now we're coming up just inside a week later, and I think this is from here on out, we're going to start seeing the numbers pick up, especially because of drop box collections. We don't collect them every day in the outliers, and we'll be doing those on Thursday and Friday. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we get through 50%.
Your counterpoint, Thad, I talked to him.
Yes, we processed ballots last night, and so I do have the latest numbers from Tuesday night, and we've got a little over 4,000 ballots in, which is around 16%. So that's really a pretty light turnout for this stage in the game, and we're going into the last week here just before the election, which is next Tuesday. So it's going to take a real push by the voters to get out and vote this last week in order to reach that same 46, 47% turnout.
And a friendly reminder, both Thad Duvall and Skip Moore say at this point you're better off dropping your ballot off at a drop box location near you instead of sticking it in the mail. Just a piece of advice. By a 4-3 vote, the Moses Lake City Council on Tuesday voted to reinstate the 3 firefighters who had lost their jobs for refusing to get a COVID-19 vaccination. The city will now make accommodations that will allow firefighter EMT Michael Evans, Shift Lieutenant Jay Morris, and Shift Captain Phil Walker to return to work. Now, the city had previously granted the 3 exemptions to the vaccine mandate, but said there was no way they could make accommodations for the men to continue in their roles because that includes frontline healthcare work. The state has mandated that all healthcare workers receive a vaccine or risk losing their jobs. An online petition organized by the Firefighters Union calling for reinstatement of the firefighters generated more than 2,500 signatures. Council members Dean Hankins, Darrell Jackson, and Michael Riggs voted against reinstating the firefighters. And finally, politically active local teenagers continued their tradition this week of asking candidates about the issues, and we've been doing this all week long, presenting segments from candidate forums hosted by NCW Young Voters, focusing on the Valley's highly contested school board races. This morning, we talk about District 4 position for the Wenatchee School Board. Michelle Sandberg is the incumbent, Catherine Thomas the challenger.
And the first question is from Ashley, who asks, how will you help encourage and foster a culture of inclusivity in our schools?
So I think inclusivity is different things to different people. If you're a person of color, it means that you're not getting called names for being a particular race that you are or a particular gender. If you have other things going on in your life, whether it's mental health concerns or other struggles, poverty, it's unfortunate. Sometimes people are unkind. And I think we need to continue to teach kindness, both in our schools and outside of our schools. My kids are half Asian. My husband's Korean. And, they've had things said to them, which I didn't realize my older kids when they were in school, that frankly were not very kind because they were half Asian. And it breaks my heart to know not only did it happen to my kids, but it happens to other kids. And I think it needs to stop. And I don't have the magic solution for that, but I think we have to teach that everybody can come to the school and that it can be a safe place. And that's what we're working on as a district.
I couldn't agree more. I think that kindness is the key. I think that having a zero tolerance policy of bullying in place covers a lot of situations. Your husband is Korean, my husband is Mexican. So I understand. We've spent 9 years in El Paso with my husband's family prior to being here. And so living in a completely different culture, primarily Hispanic, was, and my daughter went to a only Spanish speaking full immersion program at a Montessori school for 7 years. So that was kind of a time that we really tried to embrace my husband's side of the family and that Hispanic culture. So I have to say, I do think that Wenatchee is a very inclusive town. I think that people are very welcoming, and I think that the schools do a great job with not tolerating the bullying and having the many clubs and groups and help, basically counseling help that kids may need to have people to reach out to if there is an instance of that kind of treatment.
And now you're in the loop on what's making news on this Thursday. Grant and Cal and Mac and Cal again and Jefferson and everybody who gathers the news and disseminates the news and spits the news out, figuratively, not literally. We'll be doing that tonight at 5, 6, and 10 with a preview of the evening news, the anchor Grant Olson.
Good morning, Dan. Coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News, we will bring you our weekly Paws for Pets feature from the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society, where we'll introduce you to Princess the dog. More wet weather today and then sunny and nice, just in time for the upcoming weekend. I'll have all the details in your complete North Central Washington weather forecast. And in sports, Eric Granstrom takes a look at tonight's high school sports schedule and has the latest on the World Series and the Kraken. That and all the day's news stories coming your way tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on the NCW Life Evening News. We hope you'll join us then. Dan?
Thanks, Grant. Don't forget, if you have a news tip, you want to drop us a note and say hi, we'd love to hear from you. And you're good at it. You can go to our Facebook page and drop us a note via Facebook Messenger. You can email us directly, news@ncwlife.com, or if you go to our homepage, ncwlife.com, there's a Contact Us icon at the top of the screen. If you click on it, a form pops up, and pretty self-explanatory. All right. After a quick break, we're talking World Series. We now have a World Series, pretty competitive one, after Houston came back and took care of the Braves in Game 2. Highlights of that, Kraken back on the ice, and lots of prep sports to talk about as well. Sports is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Direct from Las Vegas, Holiday Dreams, a spectacular holiday cirque. Experience holograms, interactive lasers, projection mapping, and a cast of international cirque performers on one stage. Experience the futuristic holiday show everyone's talking about. Make new memories with your family this holiday season and experience Holiday Dreams, a spectacular holiday show. Live in concert.
What's the best way to attract a wide variety of beautiful birds to your backyard? By offering the birds the right foods in expertly designed bird feeders from Wild Birds Unlimited. Whether you've been feeding the birds for a while or are just getting started, let our backyard bird feeding specialists show you how to add a little joy to your life and make nature a part of every day. Shop now for exclusive bird foods, feeders, hardware, and more. Wild Birds Unlimited. Products designed by experts. Trusted local advice.
21 minutes after the hour, Houston scored 4 runs in the second inning. That was enough, and they went on to knock off the Braves. Game 2 of the World Series. We're now tied at the game apiece, the final 7-2. The game was tied at 1. That's when Kyle Tucker started a one-out rally in the second frame with a base hit, and then more base hits, and then more base hits, and, well, it went something like this.
Right through the wide-open right side of the infield, and Tucker will end up at third. And see, that would make me so nervous against a guy that can hit to all parts of the field. Jammed. It'll score a run, and a safe all around. 2-1 Houston here in the second. Talk about somebody getting down the line. Left side, base hit. Here comes Gurriel. He'll score. Going to third with nobody there is Siri. He pops up, comes to the plate. 2-run score. 4-1. Astros on top. Well, there are a couple things wrong here with the rotation of Riley being the cutoff guy. He went really deep. Rosario saw correctly what he thought he could get the out at third, but there was nobody there. 0-2. That gets away, and Maldonado will end up at third. Two-two pitch. Base hit, another run. It's 5-1 Houston. Bradley delivers with 2 down.
The Braves did get a run back in the 5th, but they needed a lot more than that, as you know by now. Former Mariner Kendall Graveman closed out the game.
That's it. Astros take game 2. Two is the final. And on to Atlanta we go.
On to Atlanta we go. Now we know that the 117th World Series will go at least 5 games. Games 3, 4, and 5 on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in Atlanta. The Seattle Kraken go for another milestone tonight. They're going to try and win back-to-back games for the first time in franchise history. It's going to be a tough one, though. The Minnesota Wild are in town, 7 o'clock. The Wild are off to a hot start. They're 5-1, and the Kraken are 2-4-1. You can see the action on Root Sports Northwest. High school football gets underway tonight. As a matter of fact, Cascade wraps up the regular season. They'll be in Omak against the Pioneers. Kickoff at 7 o'clock. Tomorrow, the Battle of the Bronze Shoe will be in Chelan. It is the Goats and the Bulldogs at 7 o'clock. On Saturday, Quincy will host Othello at 1 o'clock. Also, a couple of games tonight in the Bees. Okanagan will host Manson, and Soap Lake will visit Entiat. That's at 7 o'clock tonight. Tomorrow, Pateros will host Orville at 6. Bridgeport will travel to Libertyville at 7. On Saturday, you have Brewster at Lake Roosevelt at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. In Central Washington Athletic Conference play tomorrow, Ephrata visits Prosser. Sila's at Grandview. Ellensburg will host East Valley of Yakima. Those games all kick off at 7 o'clock. And again, Quincy and Othello Saturday at 1. On the Big 9 slate for tomorrow, Eastmont will host Davis. Wenatchee will be in the Palm Springs of the Northwest in Yakima to take on Eisenhower. Moses Lake will host West Valley. Sunnyside hosts Kamiakin in a non-league game. We're going to be at Wildcat Stadium. The crew will. The Wildcats and the Pirates tomorrow night. Eric Granstrom, Grant Olson. Senior night for Eastmont. Pregame 6:30. Kickoff at 7 o'clock. Before we get to tomorrow, let's talk about today. Eric will be courtside tonight as the Wenatchee Panthers wrap up the regular season against Sunnyside. They'll recognize their seniors tonight as well. Pregame gets underway at 6:45, and they'll start serving up the volleyball at 7. The rest of the volleyball schedule has Pateros hosting Moses Lake Christian, and Tenaska takes on Libertyville at 6:30. Moses Lake is at Ike, and Ephrata visits Grandview. Just one soccer match on tap today. Eastmont wraps up their regular season. They're on the road to take on Davis this afternoon at 4 o'clock. The Columbia Basin Big 9 Swimming and Diving Championships get underway today in Moses Lake. It's the first of 3 days for the ladies at Lions Pool. Today's action gets underway at 4, tomorrow at noon, Saturday at 11 a.m. And the Columbia Basin Big 9 Cross Country Championships today at Walla Walla Point Park. They will start running. The Harriers will at 4:30 this afternoon. And those are just some of the games that people are playing on this Thursday, the 28th day of October, 26 minutes after the hour. Happy National Chocolate Day today. Chocolate is complicated and hard to make, and I'm glad somebody figured that out. Wait a minute, we got the coca tree. Let's make chocolate. It's very complicated. The cocoa tree itself is a native of Mexico, Central America, and South America. That's where the trees were from originally, but 70% of the world's chocolate supply, or coca supply, if you will, actually now comes from Africa. The Aztecs loved chocolate so much that they actually used it as currency during the height of the Aztec civilization. Maybe that was half the problem right there. It takes about 400 coca beans to make a single pound of chocolate. It's complicated. There's a lot of things going into it. And as I just mentioned, almost 70% of the world's supply of coca comes from Africa. And of that 70%, 30% of that comes from the Ivory Coast. So there you go. Who doesn't like chocolate? Perfect for Halloween, too. Happy National Chocolate Day. I'm sure there's some sales going on somewhere out there. It is 28 minutes after the hour. Today in history. Happy birthday, fair Harvard. Harvard University. 385 years old today. It was on October 28, 1636, at the Massachusetts Bay Colony. This is 1636, remind you. Decides, hey, we need a college. So they did, and it would later become known as Harvard University. It is the oldest. Harvard is the oldest institution of higher learning in this country, having been founded 385 years ago today. Harvard's endowment, $41 billion. That is by far the largest endowment of any college or university in this country. Harvard's alumni includes 8 U.S. presidents, 21 Supreme Court justices, more than 30 foreign heads of state were educated at Harvard, 188 living billionaires, including a birthday that's coming up, went to Harvard but dropped out, 364 Rhodes Scholars, 160 Nobel laureates, 48 Pulitzer Prize winners, and right now their football team is undefeated too. Happy birthday, fair Harvard, founded on this date in 1636. Happy birthday to the Statue of Liberty. It was on this date, October 28, 1886. In New York Harbor, President Grover Cleveland dedicates the great gift of France that they just gave us to us. Here you go. We love you, America. Here's a statue. By the way, it's not called the Statue of Liberty. Statue of Liberty is a nickname. It's actually called Liberty Enlightening the World. That's the name of the statue, not the Statue of Liberty. Designed, of course, by Frederick Bartholdi, who modeled the Statue of Liberty after his mom. Yeah, Charlotte. Now there's a Mother's Day gift. Every day, whenever, hey, Mom, that's you up there in New York Harbor. And until Hurricane Sandy hit 9 years ago today, as a matter of fact, in 2012, David Lutzinger and his wife had one of the most exclusive addresses in all of metropolitan New York. They were the only people who actually lived on Liberty Island, the small little island that the Statue of Liberty sits on. It's part of the National Park Service, and he was the park ranger at Liberty Island, and he and his wife lived on Liberty Island and maintained the Statue of Liberty. And then Hurricane Sandy came around in 2012, and the little brick cottage that they lived in got, well, it was severely, severely damaged, small brick house, and they ended up just tearing the house down. And so, unfortunately for the Luttzingers, they were the last people to actually live on Liberty Island. That must be a cool address. Where do you live? I take a boat to work. I live on Liberty Island. Happy birthday to Liberty, enlightening the world. Here comes Prohibition. Congress overruling the Volstead Act. The Volstead Act was passed. President Wilson vetoed the bill for the simple fact that the Volstead Act, the 18th Amendment, didn't define what exactly an intoxicating liquor was. He said, this is way too vague. I'm going to veto it. Congress overrode the veto. Here comes the 18th Amendment. It's on its way. Thought I'd throw that out there. And then came the 19th Amendment, my personal favorite. And finally, the Cuban, we've been talking about the Cuban Missile Crisis. This has been the anniversary of it. Back in late October of 1962. It was on this date 59 years ago today that it all came. Everyone was, whew, yeah. Khrushchev said, okay, we'll take down the missiles. And they did. And the United States gave some concessions as well, but they didn't tell people about that for a while. Cuban Missile Crisis, the world breathed a sigh of relief. It's done. All right. 32 minutes after the hour. Jonas Salk, after he led the team that developed the polio vaccine, he became one of the most famous and, not surprisingly, one of the most popular people in the world. It was a team of scientists and doctors who developed the polio vaccine, but Jonas Salk led that team. He was born in the state in 1914, died at the age of 80 in 1995, but his legacy lives on. If any one person is responsible for eradicating polio, it's that guy. Thanks, Jonas. Probably the most popular member of the Seattle Supersonics in the team's history, the really first big professional athlete with a huge following in the Pacific Northwest was Lenny Wilkins, and it's still Lenny Wilkins. He's still considered to me Mr. Sonic. He's 84 years old today. He coached 2,487 NBA games. 2,487 games as a coach. That's by far more than any coach in NBA history. He was a 13-time NBA All-Star. Of course, he was the coach of the 1979 World Champion Seattle Supersonics, and he's been inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame not once, not twice, but 3 times. Happy 84th birthday to the great Lenny Wilkins. Caitlyn Jenner, 72 years old today. There you go. Bill Gates, I mentioned the Harvard dropout. That's Bill Gates. He went to Harvard, dropped out, started a company down in Albuquerque with his buddy Paul. They eventually moved to Seattle. Bill Gates is 66 years old today. I checked this morning. His net worth is $129 billion. His net worth at this time last year was $94 billion. So he's gained about $30 billion in wealth over the last year. That makes him the 4th wealthiest person in the world. He has been on the Forbes list of the wealthiest people in the world every year since 1987. Pretty impressive. Bill Gates is 66 years old today. Brad Paisley has a unique accomplishment that nobody else has ever done. He has had 10 consecutive #1 hits on the Billboard country charts. Nobody has ever done that before. Brad Paisley, 49 years old today. I didn't know a lot about Joaquin Phoenix until I saw the movie Walk the Line, the Johnny Cash story. He was good. He was like channeling Johnny Cash in that movie. Impressive. Happy birthday, Joaquin Phoenix, 48 years old today. Still to come, an opinion from Mike Mad Dog Magnotti. My conversation with Dr. Catherine Straub talking about Breast Cancer Awareness Month. That's on its way as well. But first, Princess the dog still needs a home. It's Paws for Pets with the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society.
This week on Paws for Pets, Kathy introduces us to an active little dog named Princess.
Hi everybody, I'm Kathy at the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society, and this is Princess. And she is absolutely adorable, a doll. So much fun. She is like the hiker buddy extraordinaire. If you didn't want a big hiker dog, you might want to get Princess, because she could do the Pacific Crest Trail. She is friendly, funny. Princess, show them how you do your high five. Baby, look. Sit. Oh, I gotta stand up. Sit. High five. That's her double high five. Anyway, she loves treats, as you can see. Princess is 2 years old. She loves everybody. However, there is one caveat here. She's very uncomfortable around men. So she's not looking for Prince Charming to match her, but she is looking for another Princess Charming in the form of a woman that would love to have an active, fun companion dog that is lovable, and she is good with older kids. She can be a little bit I'm in charge, so sometimes the I'm in charge dogs aren't the best with little kids. But she's fine with boys, girls. It's just the man thing. We haven't been able to work through that. But we can't say enough good things about her. She is just beautiful. We think she's got terrier in there, maybe some Chihuahua. It's hard to say. She's just a good old-fashioned mutt, but she's sweet and very food-oriented. And if you're interested in adopting Princess, we'd love to have you come down to the Humane Society shelter and visit her, and we'll set you up.
If you are interested in meeting and adopting Princess, the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society is located at 1474 South Wenatchee Avenue and is open 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. and closed 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. for quiet hour. Give them a call at 509-662-9577 or visit their website at wenatcheehumane.org.
What is the address of your emergency?
Yes, it's me. It's my husband. I think there's something the matter with him.
It was a feeling that I'll never forget, like being able to meet them and know that he survived.
Okay, tell me what's happening. Is he conscious? No, he's not. Okay, take a deep breath for me. I'm getting you help.
Rivercom means to me that I still have my husband here with me. They're the ones that guided me through saving his life.
Raising a family may have seemed overwhelming to your parents, but they weren't. Coach, teacher, life guide, caregiver. Family takes care of family. And as the circle of life continues, you now are their caregiver. It may seem overwhelming, but we're here to help you find the support services necessary so you can provide quality care to your elders.
Call Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington at 1-800-572-4459.
Green Motion e-bikes have rolled into Wenatchee. We've got fun, affordable e-bikes for the whole family. Portable e-bikes that fit right in the trunk of your car. Fat tire mountain bikes plus unique vintage style bikes you won't find anywhere else. Get some exercise with pedal assist or just cruise up to 20 miles per hour with the throttle. Starting under $1,000, Green Motion e-bikes are affordable fun for the whole family.
Are you frustrated because you feel like you aren't getting the internet speeds you pay for? One of the most common ways to test your internet connection is called a speed test. These are free and easily located on the internet and can tell you how fast your internet is. However, for certain reasons, these tests may not always be accurate. A speed test shows you how fast a file can be downloaded to the computer you're running the test on. However, there are many things that can affect the speed of that download besides the speed of the internet going into your home. A few of the things that can affect your internet speed are poor Wi-Fi signal, other wireless signals interfering with the wireless signals coming from your router, other devices in your home draining your bandwidth, your computer or phone running apps programs in the background that you aren't aware of, slowing your entire device. Any of these things can slow down your internet. Your internet is like water flowing down a pipe. There's a big pipe bringing internet to your local area, and a smaller pipe coming off of that bringing internet to your home address. Your router is just another pipe that brings the internet inside your house, and every device inside your home is like a pipe connected to the router. Just like with water, if any of those pipes along the way are too small for the amount of internet that needs to flow through for a family, the flow for everything down the line will be much slower. It's a lot like trying to push all the water going into your house through a small straw. Also, again, just like with water, if everyone in your home is using the internet at once, any individual device may not be able to receive the full flow of the internet. It's like your whole family trying to drink out of that small straw all at once. If you're struggling with internet that is slower than expected, make sure that all of the devices that your internet flows through are working correctly, and check all devices in your home for background programs that may be using the internet. If everything still appears to be working correctly, contact us and we'll be able to help.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, pizza, what a great food. Everybody, kids, old people, even liberals love pizza. I mean, succulent dough, rich spicy spaghetti gravy covered with mozzarella cheese. What could be better? But I got news for you. You don't put fruit on pizza. If you put pineapple on your food, call it a fruit cup a la mode, call it pineapple pie, call it any doggone friggin' you want to, but don't call it pizza. I mean, you don't just put tomato soup and American cheese on a piece of white bread and call it a taco, do you? No. So don't be an idiot. If it's got pineapple on it, it ain't pizza. Okay, that's settled. This is Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and that's not just my opinion, that's a fact.
Campfire North Central Washington, serving youth ages 3 to 18. Register today in one of Campfire's programs. Club members meet regularly with volunteer leaders to learn responsibility, sharing, cooperation, and citizenship. When a child is involved in Campfire, they will be actively learning and engaged in activities, encouraged to learn new skills, feel a part of the group, learn to work in a team setting, participate in planning, goal setting, and making lasting memories.
Badger Mountain Brewing is proud to announce the grand opening of our new kitchen. Come try out our new menu featuring fabulous steaks, prime rib, gourmet burgers, and seafood grilled up by experienced meat master, Chef Galen Goodman. To complement your mouth-watering meal, Badger Mountain Brewing features 14 in-house crafted beers, an alcohol-free root beer infused with 11 different herbs and spices, 3 different ciders, and a great wine selection. Don't miss out on the best meats and the best brews down at Badger Mountain Brewing, located at 1 Orondo Avenue across the tracks from the Pybus Market.
Don't make plans to store your boat for the off-season until you've checked out the Super Package from Bob File Boats and Motors. With this package, you just drop your boat off for winterizing, and they take it from there. When you pick it up in the spring, it'll be ready to go for the next season. There are too many features in the Super Package to list here, so get the details. 509-884-3558.
Bob File Boats and Motors, we're dealing. Bob File's gonna make you smile.
Country, land of Pat Armstrong, Ford Lincoln, home of the lifetime warranty. That'll sure get you thinking.
Get ready for fall and winter with a new or used truck or SUV from North Central Washington's four-wheel drive headquarters, Pat Armstrong Ford Lincoln on 3rd Street in East Wenatchee.
Land of Pat Armstrong, Ford Lincoln, you're in Ford Country.
Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere is your place for famous blues, brews, and barbecue. We are your one-stop bar and grill, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Hi, Justin here, owner of Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere. Looking for a fun night out? Join us at Club Crow. We have live bands to rock the night away, comedy to make you laugh, and if that's not enough, we have poker every Monday and Wednesday night. Club Crow in Cashmere has it all. Check out our Facebook event page for dates and times. Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere, the coolest place in town.
Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and once a month, our friends from Confluence Health pays us a visit to talk about the latest in the medical world as it affects us here in North Central Washington. Because it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, somebody who deals with this disease that we want to see eradicated is joining us. Doctor, introduce yourself to our television family, please.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kate Straub. I'm a general surgeon here at Confluence Health. I've been practicing in the Valley for just over 10 years. And although I do a wide variety of surgeries, I see a great deal of breast cancer, unfortunately, because it's so prevalent.
It is prevalent, and the numbers are sobering. I'm going to give you the numbers right now. The good doctor knows these numbers, but our viewers may not. In the U.S., 1 out of 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer during her lifetime. Breast cancer is the second leading cause of death among women behind heart disease. It is the #1 diagnosed cancer in women, as you might imagine. About 300,000 women this year will be diagnosed with breast cancer. It kills more than 40,000 women a year. It is also treatable if it's caught early enough. And let's talk about what the medical advances that have been made in the treatment of breast cancer just in the last 5 or 6 years. From what I've been able to read in my research, you guys are making some pretty important steps.
Yeah, and I think that's due largely to the prevalence of breast cancer. When enough people are getting a certain disease, there's a lot of push to advancing the technology and the treatment of that disease. And I think that with women and with breast cancer in particular, it strikes a lot of people close to home, close to their heart. So we see advances very quickly in breast cancer treatment from a surgery standpoint. This goes back more than 5 years, but it's kind of the push away from jumping right to mastectomy for the surgical treatment of all breast cancers, and looking at what we call breast conservation surgery or lumpectomy, removing just the cancer itself and adding on additional treatments, whether they be radiation or chemotherapy, to continue to treat that cancer. And what we have found over decades of research is that although potentially the risk of your breast cancer coming back is just a little higher with those treatments, the risk of you surviving your breast cancer overall for the rest of your life is the same. So we know that that's a very safe decision and a way of doing less surgery and helping women maintain their breasts to the best of our abilities.
You mentioned before that the total mastectomy just gone was just the basic surgical treatment.
20, 30 years ago,
just
more so.
Just remove the breast entirely.
Yeah, absolutely. But part of that was due to the fact that mammograms weren't as prevalent and not as good as they are now. So really you only found a breast cancer when it grew to the size that a woman could feel it. And frequently then it wasn't able to have any other treatments done for it rather than something very radical. So we can really thank the advent of mammography and other imaging studies to allow us surgically to do less.
Mammography is the process of taking a look at what's going on in there. For those who have absolutely zero genetic history of breast cancer, when should they start that process, and how often should they do it? And vice versa for those who have a history of breast cancer, genetically speaking. The same question in reverse.
Right. So Confluence Health's guidelines kind of divides up when you should start and stop getting mammograms by age. So usually nobody in general gets them without a strong family history before the age of 40. But between the ages of 40 and 50, there are recommendations that it's okay to start getting mammography. It's an individual decision with yourself and your primary care provider. In addition, there's a breast cancer risk tool available online that can help identify people that are at higher risk. But definitely by the age of 50, you need to be getting your first mammogram. And then again, based off of that risk in you in particular, every year or every other year until 75. And then at 75, it's really based off of your overall health and how aggressively you would want to treat a cancer if it was found.
As I mentioned at the very start when I did these statistics, 1 out of every 8 women in this country will be diagnosed with breast cancer during her lifetime. That number is the one that jumped out more than anything else. That's an alarmingly high number.
Because we all know 8 women. And one of them is going to get breast cancer.
Okay, that's just. Is it modern times? I mean, has it always been this way? We just know more about it now. Did women have breast cancer in the 1930s and 40s? They just didn't know it. I mean, how can you account for that figure, despite the fact that we 1 out of every 8 women?
I honestly don't think that prevalence has changed a great deal over the past decades. I think as people live longer, you live longer and can develop things that wouldn't have happened if you had died at a younger age. I think, again, that mammography is picking up on things that are so small that we're finding a lot of things earlier. So I think this number has been true all along. I just think that it's getting the attention it deserves now.
You mentioned that many of these tumors don't get big enough for you to go, hey, I think there's something wrong until it's got a pretty good headway. So the same rule of thumbs for self-examinations for women apply still that they've been talking about for decades now?
Yeah, we never discourage someone from doing a breast self-exam, but we have found that using things like yearly mammography are probably more accurate. So yes, every woman should be comfortable examining their breasts and to be able to pick up on any changes in them, but we don't really drive home the point of doing monthly breast self-exams as much as we had in the past. Following up with your primary care provider and doing yearly mammography after the age of 50 is probably just as good.
I know this is sound like a silly question, doctor, but how does one actually, how do you identify that there's a tumor in the breast? How do you, I mean, there it is on an x-ray? I mean, what are the tools that you use to diagnose breast cancer?
Well, first of all, I use my fingers just like any woman would. But I'm going to be honest, most women have what I call lumpy, bumpy breasts. They're not smooth. They have little subtle changes to them, and therefore seeing me or another doctor one time in your office might not pick up on something that's been subtly changing. What I feel for is something that's particularly firm, that doesn't feel like anything else. And it can be really, really small. Something that is more fixed, like it's stuck to something else, doesn't just roll around under your fingers. And then again, probably most importantly, if it's changing. And particularly if it doesn't hurt. Most breast cancers don't hurt.
That's an important thing to think about.
And beyond that, the use of mammography, which is a fantastic aid in identifying early breast cancers, something that can be felt. We frequently use ultrasound because we can go right to that area and take a better look at it. And occasionally, in cases where we can't really figure it out with those, possibly because of the density of the breast, MRI is used in the tougher cases.
And you mentioned that because this is the latest news that I just read out just in the last week or so. The density of the breast is something they were taking a lot more into account when it comes to this, right?
Yeah, especially younger women, smaller breasted women, as well as just some women in general have particularly dense breast tissue where it can be hard on a single mammogram, which is just like in any x-ray, like a chest x-ray or an x-ray of your ankle if you break it. It can be really hard to see those subtle changes through this dense breast. So when you go to get your mammogram, sometimes it'll be recommended to get a tomography mammogram, which is sort of a special mammogram that just goes all the way through the breast and kind of puts together more of a three-dimensional image for our doctors to look at. And it can be really helpful. So after an initial mammogram, our mammographers may recommend that you transition to those in the future for a better look.
So breast cancer has been diagnosed. Can you do everything at Confluence Health that would treat breast cancer? I mean, you have the full smorgasbord of treatment available, from radiation to full surgery to everything in between?
Yeah, I'd say absolutely. As far as the treatment of breast cancer itself, we can do chemotherapy, hormone treatments, radiation therapy, as well as surgeries, whether it be lumpectomy or mastectomy, removal of just the lump or the whole breast. We do prophylactic mastectomies for people with high-risk genetic problems, things like that. About the only thing that we don't do at Confluence is some of the reconstruction techniques, but we do have ties with multiple hospitals in Seattle and Spokane and good relationships with them. So, and of course, even though you can get everything done here, we work closely with the Seattle Cancer Care Alliance to make sure if there's anything special that can be offered elsewhere that it's available to you as well.
I'm going to throw a word out that the doctor knows and I know, but you might not. MagSeed. MagSeed. And we want to thank Confluence Foundation, because if MagSeed is a treatment, then Confluence is writing the check for the most part. The foundation is.
Foundation.
MagSeed, talk about it.
All right, so when I see a patient who wants just a lumpectomy, just to have the cancer itself removed but retain the majority of their breast, frequently I can't feel it because we're finding it early, so I have to have a way of localizing that tumor. Now, we've been doing this my entire career, but in the past we used a wire that was placed on the morning of surgery and sort of dangled out of the breast until we were able to get people to surgery, and that was uncomfortable for the patient. It was logistically tough on the day of surgery. And so this year, thanks to the Confluence Foundation, who allowed us to purchase this technology, we were able to get MagSeed, which is just a tiny little chip that can be inserted into the tumor anytime before surgery, up to a year before surgery, depending on what other treatments you're getting. And it's really just a ferromagnetic sort of strip that I then have something akin to a metal detector in the operating room that not only tells me where in the breast it is, but how far away from the device it is. And in that way, we're finding accurate removal of the tumors and also removal of less normal breast tissue. We're actually able to get just down to the tumor and remove what we need to with that better. It's been fantastic for patients from a comfort standpoint. The day of the surgery is much more relaxed. And we're finding equally accurate excisions and good outcomes from it too. So that's fantastic.
A couple more questions for the good doctor before we cut her loose. Again, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but all 12 months are Breast Cancer Awareness Month as far as we're concerned. Mammographies, you guys are backed up. You got a big backlog. So if we planted the seed for you ladies out there, and I hope that we did, call your primary care physician and get it booked, because even if you book it today, it could be quite some time.
Yeah, we do have spots that open up intermittently throughout the weeks and months, but right now, due to how backed we are from COVID and staffing shortages, you're looking at a few months before you're getting in for your mammogram. So don't delay it if it's coming up at all. Just be proactive and call, even if it's 6 months in advance, and get on the books.
You've been at this here in the Valley for the last decade. My guess is you've had a number of success stories, probably a bunch of them. What's a good day for Dr. Straub? What's a good day for you when you're done for the day? Give me a success story.
I mean, a good day today was today for me. I just had a quick clinic before coming over here. I saw multiple of my breast cancer patients back, one of which who I was just seeing right after surgery, and she was happy with how her breast looked. The pathology was great. I got it all, and she didn't need any additional treatments, and it was just basically tears all around. And that's a fantastic day for me, and if I do my job right, I do that multiple times a day.
Probably makes you glad you got into medicine, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Doctor, I appreciate you coming by and paying us a visit. Again, get your mammography booked. You just heard the good doctor about when you should get it done and how often you should get it done. Get it booked if you haven't done it yet. 40 or over, that's the time. And the self-examination, keep at it, all right? Thanks for coming by. We appreciate it. All right, you're welcome to come by anytime you want.
All right.
You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
When Mike leaves town, it's a little scary. You never know who might be outside. But we feel safer inside knowing our home is being monitored by a local company. I can check our alarm from just about anywhere. So when we get home, I know it's safe.
Protect your family and save money with a local company. Switch your current security monitoring to Guardian Services from LocalTel. Call Guardian Security from LocalTel now, or visit localtel.net to learn more.
Are you dealing with a pest or weed issue and you just don't know what to do?
We use the best pest control methods approved for areas with kids and pets.
Whether it's rats, mice, ants, or spiders,
or something else altogether.
We provide the coaching and solutions you're looking for.
And you can know that your dollars are supporting a local, family-owned and operated business.
Allow us to help you get back to living healthy and pest-free. Harvest Valley Pest Control.
In a world afraid of technology, one man, one show will bring you the newest innovations that may just change your life. This summer, Ray McNeil and your Weekly Tech Update is your Weekly Tech Update with Ray McNeil.
You don't have to be a member to enjoy the view and dine in style at Highlander Bar and Grill, located in East Wenatchee. Highlander Golf Course has added 2 state-of-the-art full-swing simulators. Food and drink service is available from our full-service bar and grill, offering breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Indoor and outdoor seating available. Call Shalane, our on-site coordinator, to schedule your special event.
All right, let's take care of business. We end the show where we begin the show, talking about the weather, because some people just talk about the weather, but here we really talk about the weather. Now, you folks out in the Columbia Basin, you're going to be dealing with some windy conditions, not so much here in the Wenatchee Valley. Here's your wind gust forecast for today. Look out at Moses Lake and Ritzville. Going to be pretty blustery out there. Once again, the jet stream is pretty much right over the Pacific Northwest. It's out of alignment, and that's why we got so much wind out in the Columbia Basin and to the north of us here in the Wenatchee Valley. We're going to be sheltered from the wind. Don't expect a great deal of wind today. As far as Halloween is concerned, the weekend looking nice, although a little on the cool side. Now, the overnight lows on Friday night, Saturday night, right on into Sunday, and on November 1st is going to be chilly. We're talking right near the freezing mark, and that's for the Wenatchee Valley. Other places, you're going to see overnight lows in the 20s coming up this weekend. So here we go, real quick like. We're pretty much done with the rain. Just a few scattered raindrops will pop in and out. Very mild as this warm air comes in. 62 our high today. It's well above normal. 47 for the overnight low. Tomorrow morning, clouds. Tomorrow afternoon, sunshine. Considerably cooler. Lots of sunshine. Chilly for Halloween weekend. All right, that is it for us. Have a great Thursday. We will see you tomorrow, Friday. Bye-bye.